Hey friends, it's me, Pastor Doug, with another word of encouragement for the day for today, Wednesday, October 27th. And today's word comes out of the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29, verses 26 and 27. And in it, we continue to explore a series of phrases that God uses to describe himself all the way back in Exodus chapter 34, verses 6 and 7. And one of those phrases that God uses to describe himself is the phrase, slow to anger. And that phrase actually in the original language is a Hebrew figure of speech that means to be long-nosed or long nostril. And if you were with us yesterday or last Sunday, you'll remember that this expression sort of gets at what we do physically when we get angry. When we get really angry, we're kind of losing control. Our nostrils flare and our face contorts. But when we're under control, what do? We take big, deep breaths through our nostrils, right? To sort of calm us down so that we can respond in an appropriate way. And this Hebrew expression describes that God is slow to anger. But it does remind us that God does get angry. Now, the problem is that for many of us, we have a misunderstanding of what that means. We have memories of people in our life that have gotten angry, that fly off the handle, that lose control, that slam doors, that yell in a moment of rage. That's not the biblical picture of God's anger. At its core, anger reveals what is most important to a person. Right? What do we get most angry about? We get angry when our rights are infringed on. We get angry when someone cuts us off and slows us down and makes us, miss a light, right? Because we're most passionate about our schedule and our needs and our reputation or our pride. And so when those things get infringed upon, we get really angry. Anger reveals what someone is most passionate about or cares about most. Friends, as a parent, I can think of times that I got really angry at my kids. It wasn't because they did something to hurt me. It's because they did something to hurt themselves. It's because they were involved or engaged in a behavior or a decision that had the potential to cause mass destruction and harm in their lives or in the lives of the people that they loved and cared about. And so for me as the parent, that caused me to get angry, sometimes even to discipline them out of that anger, not because I flew off the handle, but because I cared so much about them that I wanted to protect them from the self-destructive behavior they were involved in. Friends, that's the biblical picture of God's anger. And we see that on display here in Deuteronomy chapter 29, verses 26 and 27, where we read this, that they, talking about the people of Israel, God's people, went off and began to worship other gods. They bowed down to them, gods they didn't know, gods that had not been given to them. Therefore, the Lord's anger burned against them. Friends, this is what I'm talking about. Why did God's anger burn against them? Is it just because he doesn't have self-control and he just flew off the handle? No, not at all. It's because God cared so passionately about his people. And when he saw them beginning to make decisions that were self-destructive in nature, that would lead to their death and destruction and sorrow and pain, it caused God to be angry. So yes, God does get angry, and his anger reveals what he cares about most. But friends, God is slow to anger. He is patient and merciful and compassionate, and even in his anger, he works redemptively for our good. Friends, remember that today. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.